Good morning. Sorry for the bedhead and the cakey eyes. I just went to Gaga last night with my ma. Had a great time. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the daddy son niche and how it's been affected by this whole debacle with Austin Wolf. It was the most asked question that I was receiving on my social media page from fans. And first of all, I'd like to preface by saying that I can only speak from my perspective on this, okay? So if you don't agree with it, I understand. You can say it in the comment section, whatever you like. I'm just one man, but considering I have monetized the out of the daddy son niche, I think that I'm a pretty good person to speak about on this subject. I think that the daddy son niche really got brought back to the forefront in 2014, I want to say, by one woman, Nika Noel. She was responsible for the inception of Icon Male, all those very deeply layered story-based daddy son movies, and I was kind of like the poster boy in the beginning for all of the Icon Male movies. I was the dad, and that's how that all began for me. She's a heterosexual woman. She was writing these deeply layered scripts. I mean, but like, all right, I'll back up. When I first went to work for Icon Male, the first movie I did, I noticed walking onto the set, because I've done story-based porn, and when you're doing these kind of movies, a full movie that's a full story, 5-6 pages max, and there's a reason for that. I'm sure you guys have already heard, when you're working for a top-tier studio, that sex scene can take 8 to 12 hours in itself, that 15-minute sex scene. No joke. And time is money when you're doing studio work, right? And this is corporate, and they want to, get as much in and as little time as possible spent so the budget stays low. Then you want to add a 5 to 6 page script to, how do I say this judiciously? Gentlemen who are not necessarily thespians. You get some kid, I mean, not a kid, but some 22-year-old who just got off the bus from Indiana, and you want him to memorize lines and then take that to a place where he can get into a character. And it looks really wonky. And I personally would fast forward through that shit, so it never made any sense to me. Now I get it. But when I walked on the set for the first time, she had an 8 to 10 page script. And I was like, oh, I don't write it, I just read it. I'm here. Let's do this. But lady, this is you're gonna kill the budget with this. The other thing that she said to me that really stood out, and I thought she was batshit crazy. Nika said to me, "It's all about the story, Nick. The sex is just the bonus." What? So, like I said, I fast forward the dialogue real quick. Like if I'm trying to get minds watching a porn, I want to just see the sex. But I was like, you're going to run this studio into the ground. It's your first movie for this studio, and it's over before it even began, lady. And I love when somebody proves me wrong, and she did. I think in its second year, 2015, AEBN, that's kind of like your billboard of straight and gay porn. It shows you your top downloads, your most streamed movies, your top searched porn stars, top searched movies, yada, yada, yada. I think Icon Male dominated in its second year. I think it had 7 in the top 10 of the year. So Nika was killing the game. There was an audience for this. But what was different about her daddy son movies was this, and this is the part that this is why I was all in with her. In the past, I had noticed with daddy son niche that characters were portrayed as these toxically masculine 22-year-olds that were getting led into their homosexuality by these older men. And that always looks really creepy to me. If you check out the original Icon Male movies from like 2014, 2015, 2016. You can fact check. It was the diametrical opposite with Nika. I was always playing this very neutral, kind of passive father who was single and who was being led by this younger man into his homosexuality. So and when I say younger man, it's very important that I state this. Every character in an Icon Male movie their character was prefaced by their age. And that is so important, right? Because this is what this comes down to. Lawful age and consent. Okay? It was always stated in the movies that they were over 18. And it was these young men that were leading. So the young guys were in control of the situation here. And I liked that. So it didn't come off as looking so old man creeping on younger guy kind of thing. And it worked. It was a formula that worked. She did it great. Moving forward now into my own personal stuff that I do on OnlyFans. Let me preface this about OnlyFans. OnlyFans, to become a creator, you must submit age verification. ID to the face, back and front of ID. If you are not an OnlyFans creator, but you are in the video with the creator, you must submit the exact same documentation. Age verification. Okay? But there's also another side to this that I don't roll with. You have never seen me in a video with some 22-year-old twink dressing him up like a Boy Scout. You've never seen me performing with a little person, a dwarf, not because I am segregating or trying to not be inclusive with them, but because I believe that looks pedophilic. Okay? You've never seen me dressing up some 22-year-old twink in Mickey Mouse ears and putting a lollipop in his mouth and putting him on daddy's lap. Because that is very suggestive to me of something underage. So, I can only do my part. But I will tell you this. You can fact check my work. I walk my talk. I want to extend this a little bit further to just the daddy-son thing. It's very important also to me to state this from my perspective and what I've done in my work. I remember when this PrEP became prevalent, 2013, and the studio started to transition. I waited until 2017 to do my first crossover barebacks, and then there was a reason for that. I wanted the fans to get used to this. I also thought it was important just to give PrEP a while, because I wanted to see what the stats were on it, to see the success rate and how it was doing, because it was very new to the market. Truvada, that was the OG of PrEP. So I waited till 2017 to do my first crossover, and I ended up getting a press release for it because I held out, and I was like the last major started to cross over, so it ended up working in my favor. I'll take it a step further. There are some studios that I do not support. I was approached by Family Dick. They perpetuate a fantasy of actual incest porn. I politely declined when they approached me to work for them because I think that is perpetuating a fantasy that is a depravity. Whether you agree with me or not, that's your thing. I am not cool with the whole idea of incest. And let's face it, I've been a performer. I've worked in the sex industry for 22 years. It is not really my responsibility to babysit your kids. It's not my responsibility to say politically correct things. It is, however, from my personal standpoint, my responsibility to protect a child if I see them in danger. And it is also, I've taken on the responsibility of perpetuating sexual fantasies that I believe are healthy. Blood-related sex, underage, suggestive of something that's childlike, has never been my gig. And I'm going to take it in one more step further. I do not support Treasure Island Media. And there's a reason for that. They did a line of videos that were glorifying chemsex. In America, it's called P&P. Okay? I'm somebody who had a very serious addiction to cocaine. that I've been very vocal about. And, I'm coming up on 4 years clean off of cocaine. And it's something that I worked and risked my life trying to get through. So Treasure Island put out this line of videos where it was showing these models. You can't show them using drugs, obviously, because that's illegal. But it was showing them right after they pulled syringes out of their arms. Okay? And you see the cameraman talking to this racked out model saying, how do you feel right now? And this model's face is all eyes going one way and the other way. I feel filthy. Well, you look filthy. And if you're in your disease right now, I am not judging you in the slightest, because I would be a hypocrite to do so. But if you're a performer who did this shit, yeah, I'm judging you. Oh, yeah, I am. I also did a pinned tweet towards a website called Slam Rush. I made a very clear statement that I would not be performing with any performers who had worked for this site. And Michael Roman, love him, great performer, but he and I got into it in a DM because he DM'd me like, Nick, we're just blowing vape clouds. They're not real meth clouds. Okay, well, that's great for you. How do you justify that and explain that to the 15-year-old in Sandusky, Ohio, who has just wandered onto Pornhub seeking a video to see gay sex for the very first time, and hits this video not knowing what it is, and sees two gorgeous men having really hot sex blowing clouds? I'm not a medical expert, but this is my opinion, this is not fact, but I'm gonna guess this. Somewhere in that kid's mind, you have cognitively ingrained that these two men having this really hot sex that he's eventually going to want to go out on, blowing clouds, was somehow intertwined in that sex. That's the way I feel. And that's why you've never seen me perform in a video like that. I can only do my part. And I've kind of done my part with all of these things. But as far as the daddy-son things goes, you will never see those things with me. And I'm just one man, and I can only do my part. And I'm speaking about it now, and I'm doing my part now. Yes, this thing was with Justin and Austin was terrible. Yes, I do believe it has affected how people look at daddy-son niche, but I want you to look at it from perspective. The only kind of person that's going to take my personal work as being pedophilic is someone who already has those tendencies to begin with. Because if I'm not insinuating it, and it's not looking suggestive as to that, then that's already in your heart. You're going to take it, you're going to run with it. And the other kind of person going to try and demonize anything that I've done is a special folk. I'm not going to call you trolls anymore. I'm going to try and raise my consciousness. Okay, so I'm just going to lump you. Special folks. You special folks with your internalized homophobia, your internalized hatred towards yourselves, your internalized hatred towards your inner character or your looks, or whatever the fuck it is going to see an attractive man doing what he does and go after him. Because that's what happens in the gay community. Why, I don't know. And it's not my business. All I can say, if you're a special folk out there that likes to go onto other gay men's social media pages, strangers to you, and go bash them, you look fat in that picture, or you look ugly in that picture, or you look like a pedophile in that picture, in that video. Go get help. How about that? I don't know, try cognitive therapy, maybe do DMT or ayahuasca. Atheists of America, join the Miley Cyrus fan club. Do what the fuck you gotta do to get your shit together. Because it has never, ever been my inclination to go on a stranger's social media page and say some radical, heinous shit, passive-aggressive slight to try and hurt someone's feelings. However, if you come for me, be prepared. Because I don't give a fuck. You're not pissing me off. I've heard it all in 22 years. Just know I got awards. I've been inducted to the Hall of Fame. I have a Living Legend Award, 10 other awards over the last 22 years. I'm an award-winning whore. So when you try to whore shame me, You can't shame a proud whore. I'm 51 fucking years old in a couple of days. Grandpa's killing the game right now. You calling me grandpa? I am grandpa, okay? Grandpa's killing the game, all right? So you're not hurting my feelings with that. And when you try to weaponize my disease that I fought and shared so vulnerably with you about, you're just showing me who you are. Because anyone who weaponizes another person's disease is sociopathic. And sociopathy seems to be rearing its ugly head in this era right now. And I believe our president is a perfect reflection of that. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother post. I've shared with you my thoughts on this, on the Daddy Said niche. Like I said, I can only do my part, and I will continue to do my part. And I hope you guys have a great Tuesday.